Alright, so today we're going to take a look at a classic Nile Rodgers tune, Thinking of You, and this song really is an absolute masterclass in chord embellishment. So we're going to go through chord by chord and show you how he's doing it. So the chord progression itself isn't particularly difficult or complicated, it's just 4 chords. We're starting up here in G minor, up at this 10th fret position on the A string, this G minor shape here, okay, G minor 7 really actually, okay. We're then moving down to these other sort of block shapes. So these are G-shaped chords. If we're thinking about like cage system shapes, this is like a G-shaped F now here, okay. So at the 13th fret on the E string with the little finger, we're now fretting the F and we're playing that G-shaped, yeah. And then we're going to move that down, yeah, to the 3rd chord in the progression is E flat, but in that same shape, that same G-shaped chord, we're going to move that down to E flat, and then we're going to move that same shape down again all the way down to B flat to resolve, okay. So 4 pretty straightforward chords. So what really makes this tune is the embellishment on the chords. That's really what gives it its recognizable characteristics. So we're going to look at that now. So starting off with this G minor 7 shape up here, okay, at the 10th fret on the A string, okay, bog standard G minor 7 shape, okay, in that bar chord sort of position. There's a normal minor bar chord, and here's the minor 7 version. We're just taking the little finger off. What that little finger being free allows us to do, yeah, is to something that's very common in a lot of Nile Rodgers tunes, is using that spare little finger to embellish those chord movements. It happens in a lot of Chic and Sister Sledge tunes. He's using that technique all the time, and here's a perfect example of it in this song. So we're starting out by sort of hammering on these 2 fingers, yeah, onto the chord, yeah, and then what we're doing with the little finger is hitting that 13th fret on the high E string, okay, so that's the move, yeah. So we're hammering on with those 2 fingers. We're sort of keeping that bar in place the whole time. Embellishment for chord 2, we sort of move down and we're thinking in this sort of G-shaped F chord here. But we're not really going to use this little finger here. We're really going to sort of play around with this 1st finger and 3rd finger, making the embellishments across these 2 frets, the 10th fret and the 12th fret. So if we're thinking about this as sort of like the real guts of that F chord, yeah, okay. What he's then going to do is sort of use the 1st finger and the 3rd finger to hammer on different notes there, okay. What he's actually tending to do most of the time, it sort of slightly varies from repetition to repetition. If you actually listen very carefully, sometimes he's hitting sort of little bits of the lower end of that chord down here, yeah, and some of it he's kind of hitting up the top here, and he's hitting those top 2 notes barred across the top. It's basically following the pattern, the rhythmic pattern of that 1st chord where we started out. Okay, we're now doing, so we're hammering on again, yeah, with this barring finger here, and we're keeping that barred the whole time. That's going to hammer on, yeah, on the D string here, right, from the 10th fret to the 12th, and then it's going to pull off on the G from the 12th down to the 10th, okay. So this 3rd chord then, the E flat, okay, so it's at the 11th fret with the little finger. If we visualize it, we don't need to use the little finger for this at all. It's just to help us place the chord, okay, yeah, place that G-shaped E flat. So we're actually going to, again, as we did with this last chord, we're going to use this sort of barring finger, yeah, at the 8th fret, and then the hammer on with the 3rd finger at the 10th fret. And for this one, we're just literally going to go, we're just literally hammering on from the 8th fret to the 10th on the A string, but we're hitting the rest of the barred notes as well, okay, at the same time as doing that. Okay, so the 4th chord in the progression then is this B flat. Again, it's a G-shaped B flat. We're not going to use the little finger. Again, we're just going to use these 2, okay. So for this one, again, we're relying on this barring finger across the 3rd fret, and this 3rd finger is going to be hitting notes across the 5th fret, okay. So initially this is going to resolve down to, yeah, and then it's going to, in the first run through, it's going to sort of do a sort of pull off from this 5th fret on the G, okay, back to the barring finger on the G. The follow-on line from that, the other repetition, is using the 3rd and 4th finger on the E string, 5th fret and 6th fret. So if we walk through the whole thing very slowly, then we've got this hammer on over that G minor. Then we've got a hammer on and pull off in this, you know, this F chord here. And then we've got just a single hammer on this E flat chord. Yeah. And then same down on here on this B flat chord, but then we do the secondary sort of embellishment. Or, okay, so the chorus runs like this. It's a little more straightforward. We're basically just playing 3 little shell chords here, okay? We're playing an E flat major 7 shell chord here, so which is derived from this E flat major 7 shape there. From listening to the song over and over, I don't know how much he's actually hitting those root notes in these chords. So you can either hold the whole chord, or you can just play the, you know, the actual shell chord, fret the shell chord there. Yeah, then into a B flat major 7. Again, so really we're probably more likely to be playing it like this. Okay, and then the 3rd voicing that he uses in that is another B flat major 7, but this time it's this position. Yeah, and he slides into that. Okay, so then there's just one last little segment we need to learn to finish the whole song off. So the verse part throughout the whole song is the same as the intro we've learned in the breakdown part. And we've looked at the chorus, but there's one little 2-5-1 he plays at the end of the verse section to take us into the chorus. And that is this 2-5-1. It is a C minor 7 here. Into an F7. And then into that B flat major 7 shape again. Okay, so it would be